You know that feeling, you open your inbox and it's just, wow, this tidal wave of secrets for online marketing success.
Oh, definitely. Every guru, every platform seems to have the key, right?
Exactly. The one thing to unlock massive growth.
Hmm.
And usually for a limited time offer, naturally, it can really make your head spin trying to figure out where to even start.
It's a classic case of information overload. And honestly, it's, well, a perfect breeding ground for claims that sound incredible but don't really hold up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we're basically grabbing a machete, hacking our way through that online marketing jungle.
Cutting through the noise.
Yeah. We've been looking closely at some of the claims floating around, the ones that, often end up costing you time, money, and just a whole lot of frustration.
And our guide for this particular expedition is the team at Unscrewed Marketing. They used to be Vicky Wu Marketing.
Right. And they're pretty direct about calling out tactics they see as misleading.
What I think is valuable about their take is their focus on tangible results and strategies that actually last. So naturally, they're a bit skeptical of anything that smells like a quick fix.
A shortcut that bypasses the fundamentals.
Exactly. So our goal here is really to help you spot these red flags yourself.
Think of this as, your personal myth-busting session.
Welcome to your marketing department, where we share the best tips for marketing your small business. And the full link to this topic is down in the description. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss our latest update.
Unscrewed Marketing highlighted 4 specific claims, they actually call them lies, that are pretty common right now.
Okay.
We're going to take each one apart, figure out what's really going on, and crucially, point you toward what actually deserves your attention.
Sounds good. Where are we starting? Given all the buzz around AI, it's probably no surprise some of the most tempting and misleading claims revolve around that. Let's jump into their first target.
All right, first up, we'll get you listed in the ChatGPT database. Now, that probably makes your ears perk up, right?
Oh, yeah?
ChatGPT is everywhere. So the idea of being right there, getting recommended directly to users, it sounds like you've hit the marketing jackpot.
It definitely taps into this idea that ChatGPT is the new gatekeeper. If you're in, you've got a direct line to this huge audience.
Bypassing Google, basically.
Yeah. The promise is skipping traditional search and landing right in front of potential customers.
But here's the thing, and this is where Unscrewed Marketing is really clear. ChatGPT isn't a live search engine like Google. It's definitely not some kind of active business directory you can just submit your details to.
Exactly. The magic of ChatGPT, well, it comes from the massive data set it was trained on. Think of it like a snapshot of a huge chunk of the internet, but up to a certain point in time.
Okay.
So unless your website was already part of that original training data, you can't just add it now. There isn't an active ChatGPT database in that sense. The system just doesn't work that way.
It's not a real-time index.
Not at all.
So if these companies can't actually get you into this non-existent database, what are they selling you?
Well, according to Unscrewed Marketing, what's likely happening is they're building custom GPTs.
Custom GPTs.
Yeah, think of it like creating your own mini ChatGPT that's specifically trained just on your business information.
Okay, so it knows about my business, but who sees that?
That's the key point. The scope is really limited. The information is only what the creators manually fed it. It's not something the general public using the main ChatGPT interface would ever find. It's like a private, walled garden.
Unscrewed Marketing had a great analogy for this. It's like creating a Word doc, plastering your company name all over it, and calling it a major press mention.
Right. Looks impressive maybe to you, but totally meaningless to everyone else.
Yeah, their summary was pretty blunt.
We created a chatbot that only you will use and says your name when we ask it to.
Which just perfectly captures the sort of smoke and mirrors aspect of it all.
Definitely leveraging the hype.
For sure. Selling something that just doesn't deliver that broad exposure they're implying.
So, okay, if getting listed in the ChatGPT database is basically a dead end, what should you focus on, with these new technologies? Well, Unscrewed Marketing really emphasizes sticking to the fundamentals, just adapting them.
Like what?
Like creating genuinely useful, human-centered content, good information. That's still the priority, because that's what real search engines, old and new AI-powered ones included, are ultimately looking for.
Makes sense. They also mentioned optimizing your website, not just for regular SEO, but for something they called generative engine optimization. GEO or AI SEO.
Yeah, GEO. It sounds technical, but the core idea is just making it super easy for AI to understand and accurately summarize what your business actually does.
How do you do that?
Well, things like using structured data markup on your site, for example. It helps define things clearly for the machines.
Okay, so like giving the AI clear signposts.
Exactly, making it easier for them to pull out the key info and present it correctly when they generate responses.
Got it. And the last point was about sort of old school credibility.
Yeah, building genuine external credibility is still huge. Things like getting quality backlinks from reputable sites, being featured in industry articles, showing off great client testimonials.
Real signals of authority.
Right. Those are the things that both search algorithms and, actual potential customers recognize.
Okay, that clears up the ChatGPT database myth. Let's move to the second lie. This one plays on a slightly different desire, I think.
It does. This next one taps into, the ambition many professionals have to capitalize on the AI trend and position themselves as experts.
Right. Lie number 2. Get certified in ChatGPT and charge clients more. We've probably all seen those ads, right? Promising some kind of instant ChatGPT certification.
Yeah, the ones that say they'll turn you into an AI guru overnight.
And then you can offer these high-priced AI services.
The appeal is obvious. Get a credential quickly in a hot field, instantly charge more. Sounds like a fantastic shortcut.
But here's the reality check from Unscrewed Marketing. OpenAI, the people who actually made ChatGPT, they don't currently offer any official certifications.
That's the crucial bit. So any program claiming to give you an official ChatGPT certification, it's just not affiliated with OpenAI.
So people are just creating their own courses and calling them certifications.
Pretty much. Now, some of those courses might offer genuinely useful training on using AI tools. That's possible. But they don't carry that official stamp of approval from OpenAI.
Meaning they don't hold the kind of weight the marketing often suggests.
Exactly. And Unscrewed Marketing points out that the focus is often just on the certification itself, the badge, the status symbol.
Rather than actually developing practical skills.
Right. Or a strategic understanding of how to really apply AI effectively in real-world situations. It's prioritizing looking like an expert over actually being one.
It plays on that tendency we have to value credentials, doesn't it?
It does, even when the credential itself doesn't have much authority behind it. The key takeaway is just be wary of anything promising instant expertise via a simple certificate.
So instead of chasing these, phantom certifications, what should people focus on to build real authority in the AI space?
Demonstrating tangible results. That's what Unscrewed Marketing emphasizes.
Showing, not telling.
Exactly. Build a portfolio. Show successful projects where you've actually used AI to get positive outcomes for clients. Case studies, before and after examples. They speak way louder than some unofficial certificate.
They also made a really interesting point. Knowing when not to use AI is just as important.
That's a huge sign of real expertise, actually. Understanding the right tool for the job. And sometimes that tool isn't the latest AI tech.
That kind of strategic thinking. Knowing when a human approach is better.
That's it. Integrating AI thoughtfully, being transparent with clients about how you're using it as part of a bigger strategy, that builds way more credibility than a questionable piece of paper.
Lead with value, not fake credentials. Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. This next one is a little more amorphous. Let's talk about vibe marketing and its tech cousin, vibe coding.
Ah, yes. Vibe. This is where we get into subjective impressions versus actual concrete strategies. Using the word vibe in a professional pitch. That should probably raise a little red flag.
Because it tends to lack substance.
Yeah, specific, measurable substance. Unscrewed marketing basically translates vibe marketing as looking the part, looking like you know what you're doing, but without any real strategic foundation underneath.
Like posting really pretty pictures on Instagram, but having no idea who you're trying to reach or what you want them to do.
Exactly. That's vibe marketing in action. A vibe doesn't define your target audience. It doesn't involve testing messages to see what actually works, and it definitely doesn't track your ROI.
It's a feeling, not a plan.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And they connect this directly to how easy it is to access free AI tools now.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, in their view, vibe marketing often comes from people using tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney to just churn out trendy-looking stuff, content, visuals, without any real strategic thought behind why they're doing it.
Like having a fancy paintbrush, but no idea what picture to paint.
Perfect analogy. It's the latest way buzzwords and trends get used to mask a lack of real expertise. It might sound cool in a meeting, but when you try to pin down the actual plan,
The substance isn't there?
often, yeah. Because real marketing, as Unscrewed Marketing rightly points out, is about understanding human behavior, crafting messages that truly connect and show value, and, guiding people through your funnel systematically. And the tech world has its version, vibe coding.
Okay, what's that?
It's when someone uses tools like GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT to generate code snippets, maybe patch things together, and then presents it like they've built something revolutionary.
Looks impressive on the surface, especially if you're not a coder.
Right. But Unscrewed Marketing warns that underneath that veneer, the code can often be, well, messy, poorly structured, hard to maintain or scale, and likely to break under pressure.
So the warning sign for both vibe marketing and vibe coding is what?
It's when someone really struggles to explain their work beyond just vague feelings or buzzwords. If they can't clearly articulate the strategy and how it specifically benefits your business,
Then they're probably offering noise, not real insight.
that's a good way to put it. Superficiality, not expertise.
So if someone's selling you on the vibe, maybe ask some tougher questions.
Definitely dig deeper and ask for the specifics.
Okay, let's move to the final lie.
Right.
And this is one, I think pretty much everyone gets these emails. Your website has issues.
Ah, yes. The internet's version of the scam call about your car's extended warranty, these are just ubiquitous.
Totally. They're designed to prey on that worry every business owner has about their online presence.
Absolutely.
You know the subject lines. Urgent. Critical errors on your website. Free SEO audit reveals major problems. Or the classic, your website speed is killing your business.
And Unscrewed Marketing points out, even folks in the SEO field, people who know better, get absolutely bombarded with these.
I get like 3 a day. Easily. Makes you start to wonder sometimes, even though you know better.
Right. It just shows how automated and, frankly, often completely inaccurate these mass emails are.
So how do they work?
They're typically generated using really cheap scraping tools. They just grab basic public info, your email, your website URL, and then blast out these emails en masse, often from offshore operations.
And they rely on fear to get you to click.
Exactly. Creating this false sense of urgency.
And that free report, they promise.
Usually just bait. Most of the time, they haven't actually looked at your specific site or considered your business goals at all. It's just a generic template meant to scare you into replying.
Yeah, you'd think if they had looked, they'd mention something specific, right? Like a service page or a keyword you care about or your industry.
Precisely. The lack of any real personalization beyond maybe your domain name is usually a dead giveaway that it's just spam. Though Unscrewed Marketing does note AI is making them slightly better at faking personalization, so you still need to be careful.
And the issues they list are always so vague. Like your site isn't mobile friendly, even if it looks fine on your phone.
Yeah.
Or you're not on page 1 for everything, which is impossible.
Or it has unspecified errors, or it's too slow based on some random tool with zero context about your actual traffic or conversions.
What's missing is the big picture, right?
Yeah.
How does this score fit into my actual marketing strategy?
Exactly. They
Mhm.
focus on these isolated, often meaningless metrics without understanding your business objectives at all.
And that detailed audit they promised, it often doesn't even show up unless you chase them, right?
Right.
Which then opens the door for the hard sell.
That's usually the play.
So what's the smart approach when these land in your inbox?
Well, Unscrewed Marketing gives some great advice here. First, don't panic based on these automated emails. Instead, if you want an audit, get one from someone reputable, someone who will actually take the time to understand your business, not just plug your URL into a generic tool. They even mention they offer free SEO audits that take that strategic approach.
Good to know. What else?
Keep an eye on your own website analytics over time. Track your organic traffic, your bounce rates on important pages, and especially your conversion rates and leads.
Focus on your actual results, not just one tool score.
Right. Don't get fixated on a single, potentially flawed automated report.
And follow the money, basically. Your sales numbers.
Ultimately, yeah. The most important metrics are your actual business outcomes. If your website is helping you grow, a slightly imperfect score on some tool might not be the crisis the email claims it is.
Great SEO is about outcomes, not just vanity scores.
Exactly. Tangible business results.
Okay, so we've unpacked these 4 big marketing lies. And it feels really important to circle back to something Unscrewed Marketing stressed. If you've been targeted by this stuff, It doesn't mean you're gullible or not smart.
Not at all. These tactics often work because entrepreneurs are so busy, you're wearing multiple hats, you're swamped with information.
So the promise of a simple fix feels really appealing when you're overwhelmed.
Yeah, that fake urgency taps right into that feeling.
So it's okay if you've maybe considered or even tried some of these things before. You're definitely not alone.
Absolutely. The key thing is recognizing these patterns going forward.
And shifting your focus. Stop wasting time and money on trendy tactics that just don't deliver real results.
This whole deep dive really just highlights how important it is to stay skeptical, Use critical thinking when you hear marketing advice. Always ask why.
And how will this actually help my specific business goals?
Exactly.
So the main takeaway seems pretty clear. Focus on clarity, on substance, on real value. Not just flashy tricks that don't actually work.
Yeah, instead of chasing the next shiny object, concentrate on building that solid foundation. Use authentic strategies that drive measurable results for your business.
Maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about which of these marketing tricks you might have encountered or even considered yourself.
Yeah. And then think about what shifting to a more grounded, results-focused approach could actually mean for your growth. There's a big difference between those perceived quick wins and building something truly sustainable.
Most entrepreneurs keep guessing. My clients, they get clarity and results. The Unscrewed Room is where serious entrepreneurs go when they're done chasing shiny tactics and are ready to grow smarter. If that sounds like you, the wait list for the Unscrewed Room is open. Visit unscrewedmarketing.com now to check it out. You don't need another course. You need a strategy that works.